Hi everyone, I'm Ron, the Marvel Man at TheMarvelman.com. Back with tip of the week number 19, patronage of your local comic shop. You know, this is an area that's very dear to my heart. And, you know, a comic shop that I go to quite often is Comic Universe. It's in Folsom, Pennsylvania. Frank Link is the proprietor. And I'll tell you, great guy, loves the comic stories. He still has a pretty big following up there, so if you ever get a chance, you're ever in the area, please go by and say hi to Frank for me. One of the greatest enjoyments I had and memories I had as a kid in the 1960s was going to my favorite comic shop. Back then it was Mrs. Nick's. Like anybody who's followed the Marvel Man will know that that was my favorite place to go, because veritably it was close to my house and it was an easy walk. I usually went with my brother Robbie if he was around. You know, or not sleeping in bed, which he did quite often, or Big Billy Crika, who lived right next door. He was a monster, like 6'3", 200 pounds at 12 years old. So you know where we're going here. Anyway, the three of us will go up there. The anticipation was overwhelming, and we usually had a blast. But we basically knew once a month, you know, when the books hit the stands, and we would, usually what I did back then is I always tried to buy $1's worth of comics. Okay, so if it was 25 cents a piece, obviously I bought 4. Okay, so if down the road I had to sell 1 or 2, I always had more, you know, that I could keep. Yeah, the best laid plans. But what ended up happening was when I got married in the late 70s, the kids came along, and that plan didn't last too long. The proceeds were pretty well eaten up by the kiddies. But even in the late 70s, Jack Kirby was still around, still working for DC and at times Marvel, and put out a lot of great titles that are coming into fruition today. One real short run was Devil Dinosaur, and only lasted 9 issues, but man, nothing like a red Tyrannosaurus Rex and Moon Boy on his back, the little jungle creature. But I stayed vigilant as long as I could. The store owners always looked at us kids as more than a nuisance than a buyer. So, you know, the more they got to see you, you know, the less of the hot, hairy eyeball they gave you. That reminded me of also a time when I used to buy my books at the delicatessen up the corner. And Sam Fine was the owner of Fine's Pharmacy. And in there, Sam carried quite a bit of comic books. And man, there was hardly any traffic in that place, ever. And as soon as we walk in, he'd give us this. You know the eyeball? Like, you know, we're going to steal something from him. But anyway, it was a great place to buy the comics. And there's little legendary classics like Spy vs. Spy. Very cool. But as the years went by, many of those stores went out of business, and I watched all of them go out one by one. And with it, my youth and my memories. But in large, it was quite a good time. If it was a comic shop you're buying from, most of these owners had some great stories to tell you, and most of them were at least 20-25 years older than you anyway. And if you got to know them a little bit and ask them stories, some of the ones that actually collected comic books themselves, if there was anybody around, they'd give you the look, and they would tell you, and you could see the instant happiness and gratification that came from that big smile on their face when they tell you about the comic books they collected as a kid. You know, Batman, Superman, you know, mostly all of them. It's kind of strange because back then most of the older guys collected DC. You know, Superman and Batman and Justice League of America, they were the ones that they all seemed to collect. It wasn't until when Marvel came out in the 1960s, you know, in that format with the Fantastic Four, did Marvel really start to slowly but surely take over. And, you know, it hasn't been an even balance, I don't believe, in years. Well, Marvel definitely has the stronger hold on the business. But in today, the modern era, you know, Batman and Superman still around, and then Spider-Man and Fantastic Four also, and it's pretty even Steven. But if these comic stores are left to go out of business, then a wealth of information and just plain fun will be lost. for many a generation that'll never get the chance to see how memorable and how much fun collecting comics and comic memorabilia truly can be. So please, guys, if you get a chance, and gals, you can go out there and you get a shot instead of going online all the time or eBay or some of these alternative sources. Please patronage your local comic shops. Another tip from the Marvel Man. Have a great day.